Before I forget, I'm going to record. So nice to see all of you. Life is going back to normal, so we're going to have classes again in the evening or in the weekends during the day. So I am going to talk about moving from victim state trances to actually being a deliberate creator. This came to me because what I realized is that a lot of the time when we get stuck, it is because our body is overwhelmed with these trance states. And these trance states put us in a state of unconsciousness. And what will happen is, and those of you who are the alumni students, you know that many times these trance states could also mean that we're hooked into a pendulum. And for those who don't know what a pendulum is a thought form that is in the mass consciousness. So everybody's thinking thoughts, and all these thoughts have frequencies and they have a specific state of consciousness. So imagine, let's say with the virus and the crisis that we had, there were a lot of people vibrating fear, and the fear was irrelevant of the topic. People were just vibrating fear. They were vibrating fear of death, they were vibrating fear of losing their money, vibrating fear of uncertainty, vibrating fear of the unknown, vibrating fear of other people they love dying, not having enough food, or so if you have that many people vibrating to the vibration of fear, what is created is that these people over time, they're feeding the massive thought forms that all the people in the world have ever thought about fear. And because a lot of us are living in fear, we are tuning in. So because we are in fear, we become a vibrational match to the pendulum of fear. And what happens then is, as soon as we become a vibrational match, we are hooked into the pendulum. And according to some theories, and I believe it is true, actually you then stop thinking your own thoughts. You are thinking the thoughts of the pendulum. The pendulum starts using you to think the thoughts and to act out its things. And those of you who don't know me, I've studied family constellations because I was in repetitive drama cycles in my own relationships when I was younger. And despite me studying healing, despite me studying Jungian analysis, knowing quite a lot about the unconscious and about relationships, I would always attract partners that would always somehow reflect to me the family dynamic of myself, but also his family. So there were really very often very weird role reversals. Like I suddenly realized that I became my dad and he was my mom. Or there were recurring patterns. It didn't matter how many relationships I left, because I left many of them thinking it was them, and then I would just go into a new relationship, and another aspect of my family dynamic that was very destructive, very painful, would show up in this new relationship. And this is why at one point when I was, I think this was 2006, 2007, when I had a very, very big break in a relationship, was like one of the loves of my life. It was really heartbreaking. But it was so insightful, that relationship, because I really saw that for so many a time, the family dynamic that I was in and that he was in was mirrored in our relationship. And that's how I understand that we are always operating in what we call morphogenetic fields or attractor fields. And these attractor fields have a specific level of consciousness. And so when we talk about victim states, I want to think about us as a collective still resonating to these unconscious states of victimhood where we don't know how to take power back. And I can tell you, when we don't know how to take power back, when you are in a state where you feel powerless, you are probably hooked by a pendulum. And the pendulums are very strong, they're very powerful, and you should have compassion for yourself. You should forgive yourself. You should stop beating up on yourself, because when you're in a pendulum, it is very, very hard to see reality. People who are in a pendulum, they operate on unconscious programs. They're driven by fight, flight, and survival, or fight, flight, or freeze. And I myself, my pendulums have to do very often with betrayal or abandonment, and that has to do with my family, my family ancestral dynamic. Being born in a Chinese family where men have multiple, whatever, wives or concubines or mistresses, whatever. Can you imagine that I couldn't really trust relationships, and I would rather sabotage relationships than be in one. And often, if I really care about a person, I would get into a trance monkey state where I would sabotage, or I would basically create some kind of destructive pattern so that I would be safe. So I want you to know that these trance monkey states, they are related to your individual personality and your individual family, but above that, they are actually hooked up to larger fields of consciousness that we now, that we can actually free ourselves from. So I would say that when you, it doesn't really matter whether you are hooked to a pendulum or not. I think it helps though to know that when you can be hooked by a pendulum, that the thoughts that you think are not even your own. And so, for instance, when I was studying some of the other literature about all these unconscious states that we go in, what I heard, for instance, people that have suicidal thoughts, they actually, some of the, there are certain methodologies, I think it's emotion code, but also theta healing. They can actually find out that, it's not just the pendulums that are hooking to you, but you also have lower entities that are hooked to you. So, so we have to be so careful what type of trance monkey states we're in, because once we're in them, we are being affected by, what we call lower astral, and also, the mass consciousness that is in fear. And as we know, and I don't have to tell you this, you look at the media, and what do you see? We are being fed. And I'm not saying that we didn't create this. We probably created this collectively. And it takes a lot of awareness for us to actually go into a state of consciousness where we can observe the news, the so-called facts as presented to us, and stay in our center. And I can tell you that the people who are in the appreciation game, especially the ones that are in it for the second time, but also the ones that just participated, and we ended the last one, which was happening during lockdown worldwide, they, after at least 2 or 3 weeks, started noticing that because of the intention that Ellen and I set for the group, they were very calm, and we did a lot of energy healing and clearing work. We really kept on reminding people that they're not victims. They are deliberate co-creators. We're not separate from the events. We are not separate from the best case scenario. We can co-create the best case scenario independent of what's going on. And as you could see from the video where we had all the testimonials, people were really, really not being hooked by the mass consciousness. And the ones that were just new in the game, they very often would notice that they were in the beginning stages of becoming conscious, meaning they could catch themselves in the trance monkey states. But then what would happen is they would basically go and be, for instance, be triggered, and then they would catch themselves and go and recalibrate themselves back into alignment, meaning they had a strategy for how to deal with these trance monkey states. And you can imagine, all of us were running on fear. All of us were like really thinking the worst case scenario. And that's why when Ellen and I downloaded that we had to create a program called Creating from the Best Case Scenario, it was very, very new to us, but we knew that we were guided by the divine. So our next game is called Waking Up in the Best Case Scenario. And that was also a download, because I don't try and think of things. It's too hard work. Actually, I'm always guided to do what I need to do. So for instance, this specific theme, from victim to creator, or from victim trance monkey states to deliberate creatorship, is a download. It happened while we were doing a meditation. And I trust these downloads because when I have a lot of synchronicity, by the way, about from victim to victor archetypes. So, but that's another story. So what we noticed is that when you do not transcend these sort of these victim states, and especially when they go as far as trance monkey states, that it is very, very hard to change your life. So in those areas where you are affected, and it could be money, could be relationships, it could be relationship with the world. So for instance, if you're very much affected by what's going on in the economy, relationship with source, your relationship with self, if you do not know how to calibrate back to your true self, then it's very, very hard. Then and if you don't understand the theory, you don't know the methods, and you don't have accountability, you don't have help, you can probably look back and see that for many, many years you've been like really suffering in these states. And I can tell for myself, I definitely am triggered with trance monkey states, and I know exactly in which area, which is a relationship. That is the one that really always gets me. And what I can tell you from my own trance monkey states, and this is, I go into fight or flight. But it's basically whatever state you run. So it could be fight, flight, or freeze. You will have certain things that keep on happening in your mind. So you will run the program of your past, because you will try to project the destructive past or the painful past onto the future. So, and your subconscious mind is saying, no way are we going there. So you're going to do a lot of things to help and protect yourself. So that's why you're going to resist the situation. You're going to try and change and control other people, or you're going to try and sabotage the situation so that you don't get successful, you don't get the relationship, or you destroy the relationship, or you destroy your business, or you procrastinate, or you do stupid things to really, really make yourself safe again. Yeah. So again, what is the price? The price is eliminating our resourcefulness, eliminating our power. Because if all of you here know that you are a creator, you probably are super good in creating in other areas, but in this specific area where you go into a trance, where you're probably hooked to pendulums, and the pendulum could from your family, it could be from your culture, it could be from the collective. Very often it's all of the above. You're going to realize that you feel defeated. No matter how much you study, no matter how many workshops you do, you feel defeated. And so, and also, if you understand the levels of consciousness of the David Hawkins scale, whenever we go into trance monkey states, we forget all the years of knowledge that we've accumulated. We forget that we can take back our power. And I'll tell you why. Because we start arguing for our limitations. So what I noticed from myself and from the trance monkey states of other people is that when you look at your own victim trance states, I always say, look at what you're thinking, believing, and what is happening to your body. So mindset of a victim trance state is that you start blaming other people, blaming something outside of you. Yeah. And we will go into how that is untrue and how these victim trance states are a lie. They are very, very powerful, but nevertheless, they are basically based on a lower level of awareness of how to apply the universal laws and how to pattern interrupt our lack of alignment. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to talk about. But first, let's really get familiar with victim trance states. So when I'm a victim, or when I see people who are acting out their victim archetype, they don't say, oh, I created this. No, they say, this person has to change, the government has to change, the astrology has to change, or, somebody else has to change, but it's not me. So they're not taking responsibility. And we know what happens when we don't take responsibility. Then we are super, super, when we don't take responsibility, we're immediately under the David Hawkins scale of 200. We're under courage, and everything under courage in the David Hawkins scale means you are going to manifest. You're going to manifest outcomes that you don't want. So actually, by staying in these victim states, you're going to actually prolong the horrible manifestations that you didn't want, is because your level of consciousness is the same as the one that created it. Yeah. You feel absolutely powerless. The reality is something that happens to you. It's not you are causing it. No, the cause is outside of you and you are an effect. You don't see yourself as cause. That's the victim trance state. Whether it's relationship, whether it's your boss being horrible to you, whether it's the government, you know, trying to do whatever to us, or whether it's like whatever's going on, we know like all the conspiracy theories. I mean, whatever it is somewhere out there. Something outside of us is the cause. And also, this is especially happening when we're in these fight modes. These fight modes, we start arguing for our limitations, and we start fighting for the reality of our distorted viewpoints. And I know all about it because I was living them for many, many years, but I just wasn't aware enough of what I was doing. I had to go through a lot of crisis to actually see myself destroying things because of these trance monkey states. And I feel very blessed that just recently I really realized that it wasn't worth it, that I was not going to go back to the victim trance states anymore. And that and because of the downloads that I got, I realized that this is my lesson. It's my lesson, but it's also my gift. And I'm going to teach this. And I hope that if this is the one contribution that I can give you, and it is because I get a lot of synchronicities with Victory. Is one of the archangels. I actually have to explain how that is. Like a few of you know that I have a lot of synchronicity around the archangel of Victory, and how the guides are always telling me which direction I have to go. So Victory is of course the opposite of defeat, and victory means that victor is the opposite of victim. So although I was still running these victim trance states, I was getting all of these synchronicities around victory, and so I really knew that I had to do something with it, and that was very, very personal to me and to my mission. So one day I'll shoot a short video about all the synchronicities so that all of you get it, because it's crazy. Like I definitely have like screenshots and everything. So it's interesting, and I feel very blessed that my angels are always guiding me. So just look at this here and realize, so when are you in a victim trance state? When are you arguing for your limitations? When are you fighting for the justification of things that you don't even want to be true in your life, but they seem so real that you think, no, somebody else has to change something so that I can feel better, so that I can feel XYZ. And what is XYZ? XYZ is it will keep you safe, it will keep you in control, and it will keep you in the known. Yeah, so you want things to be a certain way because it will keep you in the known. And very often your body, because it is so much in fear, it is so much in like apathy, or it's so much in shame, or so much in anger, or so much in pride, you actually, and you have to know this because I know this and I'm really honest about this, you would rather be unhappy and safe and in control than you want to be wrong. And in hindsight, of course, when you get out of these states, you look at yourself and you think, what the fuck was I doing? I was being destructive and I was being harmful. And this is the humility that we have to have when we are dealing with our victim states. These victim states are very, very destructive. And I know that those of you who play the game with us, you are super honest, you have so much integrity. All of us get in these victim states. But very often what we see is that we catch ourselves in it. And because we're in the security of a group and we have this huge, amazing intention for the group, and the group energy is so high, the group attractor field is so high that people can get out of it very quickly. So also, and as we know, Dr. Joe Dispenza says this, you can only accept, believe, and surrender to the state of your consciousness. So if you're in a victim state, you cannot accept beliefs or solutions that would help you because you're in a victim trance state. Your state of consciousness can only believe and accept and surrender to beliefs that will match your state of victimhood. Yeah. So I hope that this will really help you in understanding the reality and the really difficulty of dealing with trance states. So I'm just going to read some of the things in the chat. £1 million. It is done. Oh, peace, love, and joy. Abundance, relationship. Okay. Direction. Yeah, relationships. Yes. Yes, relationship. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's actually, a lot of you are commenting that it feels very familiar, that even though you have a victim trance state, how do you get out of it, right? So I want us to really understand vibrational set point. A vibration. So basically, in the law of attraction, you do not attract what you want, you attract who you are, because you are a vibrational being. We live in a vibrational universe, and what you're vibrating 24/7, not the 5-minute meditation or affirmation you did, but what you're vibrating unconsciously 24/7 is creating your vibrational set point. And if it's under 200 of the David Hawkins scale, where you are a victim, you are disempowered and you're in a trance. And very often what is going on is, like, for instance, one of the things that you're talking, that you're thinking is, I'm not sure, I'm uncertain, I feel fear and worry. And you have a lot of fear, doubt, or sabotage, or procrastination, blame, the fight, flight, and freeze type of mechanisms there. So, and if you see this, then you know that, this is the main thing. I'm sharing this because the next thing is, what you do is you catch yourself. As soon as you get into these states, you should catch yourself, because the players who play with us, they have the accountability to catch themselves, because they have to report every day. And they report, it's not like a homework. They love reporting. People love going to our website and sharing their gains, sharing what's going on with their transformation. And so this is why the game is so much fun. So, but what will happen is, when you catch yourself and you do the process with us and you do the energy work with us, even if you just watch the recording, sometimes people even get the results by not even attending a class. They just watch recordings because they're in another time zone, or they're sleeping when we're having class or whatever. Some of the people in the US had that in the West Coast, I believe. Even they would feel the transformation because they're in the attractor field of the group. So what we need to do is to give you processes to actually shift your vibrational set point to trusting and knowing that you are not the person that is living those trance monkey states. Your identity is much bigger than that. And this is the whole setup of the game, to move from victim to creator, and to align more and more with source, more and more with who you really are, so that the embodiment of source is what you ultimately become. So that when the collective, your colleagues, your partner, your family, your neighbors, your nation, they go absolutely crazy, you still are connected to source. And you are not being carried away by the pendulums, because your vibration is so much higher than what the normal people are hypnotized to go into, that you are dominating the vibration. So, and the main thing is once you are here, you do something that many of us don't do, which is very unfamiliar territory, is we trust. We trust life. We trust ourselves. I mean, how many of us actually trust ourselves in life? It took me, I don't know how many years. And I'm not saying that, there's something wrong with it, but I'm saying this is part of the human journey. And it's definitely something that you can attain. Because the more that I'm shedding of the programs that have been, that I chose probably as a soul to overcome, I really started to see how they served me, how these programs were my journey to be so resilient and persistent, to really transform myself, because there was something in me that I just knew it was wrong. I knew that I could trust life. I knew that I could trust myself. And the more that I would go into these horrible creations that I created out of default and out of unconsciousness, out of victimhood, the more that I started knowing I need to study more, I need to grow more, I need to go more to like training so that I can really embody who I am. And right now I can tell you, no matter what happens, I think 80% of me trusts. 80%. Before, it used to be like 10% trust, 90% fear. I would always default back into sabotaging or victimhood or fight, flight, or freeze. Right now, I'm more like, no, I trust, and I take life as it comes, and I really accept whatever happens is for the good. And whatever happens, I attribute positive meaning to it, and I pick up myself like this, and I'm surrounded by amazing healers and mentors, people that I pay to actually elevate me so that I can become the best version of myself as quickly as possible. And you'll meet a lot of those people, because a lot of them will be guest teachers, or they will be joint venture partners that work with us, because, this is very serious work, and you need to do this work so that you can really elevate yourself as much as possible. One of the biggest things to actually go into a vibrational set point above 200, you need to go into heart and brain coherence. And with all the research that we have right now about this topic, we know that appreciation leads us people into heart and brain coherence. And when we're in heart and brain coherence, we are no longer a vibrational match to fear and worry. And what will happen is we will start to tune in to the quantum field where all answers lie. We become psychic, we become like more in tune, we become intuitive, and the type of intuition that we're tapping into is called non-local intuition. And non-local intuition is intuition that is coming to you not through a fax, not through not through memory or through association. It is really you're reading the field. You're picking up in the ether the telepathic thoughts and the intentions of other people. And you can even know things from the past, present, and future, and all these things. You're almost like psychic. And imagine that you can take that to make big decisions for your life, whether it's the future, choices, decisions, whether to move or whether to end a career, or maybe start a new project or whatever it is, or even which therapy to go to, or whether you should join the appreciation game or not. So I think it would be good for you to really understand that the two biggest archetypes that we discuss in the appreciation game is the victim or the saboteur. And I think the difference between the victim and saboteur is the saboteur is always feeling a bit more powerful. So the victim feels very powerless, but the way that they're acting out in the relationship, they take a lot of power, but it's very forceful, and it destroys a lot of stuff. But the saboteur feels more powerful, and the saboteur but the saboteur itself is also really very often unconscious. So both the victim and saboteur are very unconscious. But if you look at the saboteur has more of a very strong conflicting intention. So I'll give you an example. So let's say if you want to enter into a relationship, or you want to be in a harmonious relationship, the victim will more probably be led by unconscious beliefs such as I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and really try and get have a lot of these weird things around getting safety and getting control around the situation by controlling the partner, or controlling how much they can be hurt. Whereas when you look at the saboteur is much more, for instance, actually the saboteur feels more powerful. So the saboteur will think, I need to sabotage a relationship because I'm actually so scared of this relationship working, because if this relationship works, it could something. So you fill in, what will happen when the relationship will work, or you will be successful. So for instance, for success, people very often say, this is a very common one, if I'm successful, I won't have time for myself. So imagine that the saboteur comes from more empowering limiting beliefs, and the saboteur seems to be more in control. The saboteur is not feeling like a victim. The saboteur feels very powerful, but it still leads to you not being in alignment. You're still buying into a belief system that is not very, empowering. And also you're not tapping into the unified field where infinite possibilities exist. You're operating on a very limiting belief system, both the victim and the saboteur. So conflicting intention for relationship for a saboteur could be, I'm not sure you're the one, are you the one? No, show me that you're the one, but I'm the one, but are you the one? So you can imagine the victim feels a bit more lower vibration. The victim is more I would say, shame, blame, apathy, grief. The saboteur is more in anger, resentment, pride. So that is how I think you can actually really see the difference between the saboteur and the victim. So, and we already know what the pendulums are. And in the appreciation game, we've done a lot of seminars about how appreciation scientifically is proven to raise your consciousness. But the pendulums that we can be hooked into are very often something not good enough with you, something you're not ready, you're not capable, you're not worthy, you know, all these things that are absolutely not true. And what we need to do, what we do in the appreciation game, we help you to align with source and to really, really, during the games, during the time, the duration of the time that you play the games with us, that you wire yourself, you condition yourself, you practice, you pattern interrupt yourself to be tuned into the chatter of the pendulums, which is all about you not being good enough and you not being that enough, and nobody's good enough, you know, nobody's trustworthy, everything is unsafe, to actually to tuning into source and to really interrupt what we call these 7 toxic ways of thinking. And the 7 toxic ways of thinking, they will destroy your life if you don't interrupt them. And so appreciation is the only, I would say, antidote to the 7 toxic ways of thinking. The 7 toxic ways of thinking are so destructive that appreciation is the only antidote to it. Right now, I'm not sure there is another one. If there's another one, and maybe it has another name, but appreciation, I think, is the catch-all phrase that really is the antidote to all these 7 toxic ways of thinking that make you think like the pendulum would think. And it doesn't matter which pendulum, but it will, every toxic way of thinking will match one of the pendulums that we have, which disempower you, which make you work really hard and never get the results because you are so stuck in the trance. And imagine that if you understand what a trance is, a trance means that you don't have any clarity. It's like you took a pill. It's like you think there's only one TV channel, or you think your Wi-Fi isn't working. So you're staring at the screen. And let's say you have a telephone screen, and the telephone screen has only your screensaver on it. And you think that is reality. That is the whole World Wide Web. So try and find an analogy for trance that will help you get out of it, you know. So it really doesn't give you, when you're in a trance, your tunnel vision, you probably don't even have a telescope. You just have to see this, you know, whatever is like very, very scary picture playing out here, that's what you're seeing and believing. And your body is calibrated to that. So it might be in fear, it might be in rebellion, it might be in pride, but it is not in a state where it can assess the reality of the situation. So what we do with a lot of the processes in the appreciation game is we try to hold you accountable. We don't try, we hold you accountable, so that when you don't do it for the 3rd day, in 28 days, you're thrown out and you don't get money back. So you have to do the work to get yourself in alignment with your source, which is who you really are. So, and what we do is we do energy processes, we teach you clearing processes, we do energy group work, but we also give you daily processes, whether it's meditation or whether it's doing you know, going into a trance and reprogramming yourself, or just you know, just scripting, or appreciation processes where you start to use your imagination in a different way, so that you start creating new neural networks. We're doing a lot of different processes so that you can start to rewire yourself, so you get out of the groove of the toxic ways of thinking, and you start building new neural networks that make you much more powerful. And very often, those of you who work with us, you already have the neural networks that are super powerful, but they're disconnected from the trance states. So what we do is, in the appreciation game, we allow you to build bridges between the neural network of the trance state, so the fight, flight, or freeze, and we build bridges so that as soon as you get into the trance state, you know, wait a minute, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to take this bridge and I'm going to go into this other state, which is my alignment state. And so this is where we work with things like, you know, you give yourself a refractory period. Are you going to, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, it takes 2.5 to 3 minutes for an emotion to run through your body. And if it doesn't, you know, you've trained yourself to stay in a panic attack. And Dr. Joe actually believes that we can train ourselves to be in a panic attack. And I've definitely done that myself, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I mean, because it was very serious in my own life. So I can only say, you know, those of you who are having issues with this, you know, do take it seriously, and you can break through this, because I've had breakthroughs myself, but I tried different modalities, and this is something I work on at least once a day. And you know, you need to find an energy modality that is going to shift your brainwaves. So you need to have proof for whatever energy modality you use. You need to have proof that before and after the work that you do to shift these trance states, that you can see, for instance, with a brain scan, that the amygdala is less, you know, is not firing up, but actually the other parts of your brain where you're in peace, that they are fired up. So definitely these things can happen with EFT. They can happen with fast EFT, EMDR, you know, probably Psyche, releasing, even constellations work, meditation. So there's so many out there that you should try. But in the appreciation game, we actually do something else, which is we do it with a group. We do group energy work, and we help you to do it in the moment. We help you to give you processes that you can actually do in a group, so that it becomes fun. And so it's, instead of you doing all the energy work or the healing process with a therapist, which I think you should do as well, you also have this group of people that are all going through the same thing. And we don't identify ourselves with victims. That's a beautiful thing. We know that we have these victim trance states, and all of us have it in some area, but we do not let it define us. We let ourselves be defined by a vision of the future. And that's really what we want to do. So when you look, for instance, you know, look at the area of your life where you're run by a program. It could be a trance funky state program. You can see, you know, that you know, apart from the victim and saboteur archetype, you also have the wounded lover, you have the wounded child, you know, all of these things, you define yourself as a loser, a failure, or, you know, a con artist, you know, I don't know, or I'm just not good enough, not beautiful enough, whatever it is, you have an I am program. And this I am program, which is your identity, can be so toxic that it defies logic. And, you know, and you would actually ask yourself, if it's not honoring yourself, if there's no self-honoring, no self-appreciation, you know, why would you do it, right? But we do it because we don't really know how to get out of it. And as I said before, when you're in a trance state, you really are so stuck, mainly because I think you're hooked to the pendulum, meaning you're a fed massive stream of consciousness from the lower levels of mass consciousness that is around us everywhere. And you don't know how to tune back into source, which is really, this is who you are. You are source energy, you're infinite, you can connect to your higher self, you are a creator, and from that perspective, you are all powerful and you're connected. So what we're going to do is we're going to help you find out, you know, from the beginning in week 1, we're going to help you find out what are your Pavlov reactions. Remember Pavlov's dog? They gave the dog, you know, food, and then they would like ring a bell. So the dog would be creating all these neural networks and associations. We have been trained to associate like a Pavlov dog. So for instance, your bills could give you a lot of stress, your work, certain bosses, maybe the idea of relationship, maybe the idea of certain things going wrong in your life, or nutrition, or your diet could really be a source of, you know, one of these Pavlov's reactions. And it can be so automatic that you don't even know how to get out of it. So, but the thing is, you run the program that is connected to any of these lower states of consciousness. And what we do in the appreciation game, we really give you a lot of exercises every day that take you around, I would say, an hour a day. and that you have to do, and then you have to appreciate 3 times a day. But well, if you can do it as much as you can, do it 24/7, but you have 3 times a day. We recommend you to check in into whether you're where is your level of consciousness. But really all of this, what will happen is that people, because they are doing the appreciation, they're doing the assignments themselves, and then they're also reading the post of all the other players, is that you become more centered and more focused on the appreciation of everything that is, even the contrast, even the journey, but definitely also the vision of what you want. You're taught how to think about what you want, to focus on what you want, and not so much on the victim programs, not so much on the I'm trying to heal myself. We're more identifying with I'm already healed, I'm already this person, I'm already living this, the best case scenario is already unfolding, I'm already awake because I can catch myself in these patterns. I'm no longer blaming somebody else. I have compassion for myself. I'm no longer angry with myself. Once you start working with the group and you start building momentum, day after day and then week after week, and for other people, some of your players, it's already month after month, you start to feel, and that these are our testimonials, is that no matter what happens, they catch themselves and like, no, I'm not going there. I'm not going into that victim program. I'm going to determine, I'm going to decide, this is the outcome I choose. This is the outcome I align with in my being. And they snap out of the victim trance states. And this is because of the repetition. This is because of people, knowing themselves so well that once the trigger happens, the Pavlov dog reaction happens, they know exactly what's being triggered. They know like, oh, my boss is yelling at me. It's I'm being such a victim, and I hate authority, and authority is injustice, or that program is running. So I'm going to have compassion for myself, and I'm going to see the positive aspects of why this is happening, so that next time when my boss is having such a temper tantrum, I can actually really respond to it, or in a positive way, or I can actually even change the boss. And that's what we're going to go to. We're going to go to the teachings of how you're actually creating people. But really what I wanted to do is, what we do is we give you all these different worksheets as well. So for instance, if you have goals, we're going to actually really ask you, in which area is this and what do you normally feel? Very often, if you don't have the goal yet, or it's very hard, it's because you're feeling and believing things that are very often about I can't have it. So they're the toxic ways of thinking, or the limiting thoughts, scarcity consciousness, the pendulums of the world that have nothing to do with reality. They're just based on people observing us creating from survival all the time. And then these are the new states that they want to embody. So these are the ones that they need to shift to within when they catch themselves. And they have to, we give them all the alignment skills. So they need to find what we call their superpower. So with all the alignment skills that we've seen in the world, we'll go back to there later. They have to choose one that's very easy for them, that really catches them and also transports them back into alignment. So so this is where, these are the type of worksheets that we can give you. But also what we'll do is we allow you to really, really identify the trance states that you're in, so that you can actually, them, and you have a commitment to changing them, and your triggers as well. So for instance, your trigger could be getting emails, or getting a text message, or somebody saying something, or you making up a story. Sometimes things don't even have to happen, but you just make up things. So we're really going to help you identify these triggers this time. And so basically, why is this important? We want you to understand right now that you are not a victim. This is one, those of you who know Dr. Joe Dispenza, you probably also know that he always talks about becoming a vibrational match. Bob Proctor talks about it. Abraham Hicks talks about it. But Neville Goddard is somebody who wrote a lot about it. He wrote books and books about this. What he says, and this is Bashar as well, is that the world is you pushed out. Your world is you pushed out. In Ho'oponopono, they say the same, meaning that there's nobody out there. Everybody's in you. And when you hear that, that sounds so scary. You have to accept. You're going to probably, if you're not ready for it, you're you probably are not right for this course that we're running, because the course that we are going to run is only for people who are ready to become a master. I work with people who make us become masters, and I do not accept that people will choose to not be a master. So the only people that are right for the appreciation game are people who are ready to become a master. And you can become a master when you understand that at the highest level of understanding of the way reality works is that everything is responding to your level of consciousness. And so Neville Goddard, look him up. You know, there's lots of people explaining his books, and there's a lot of his quotes. But these are the ones that we're going to work with in the next appreciation game, and we're going to also connect them to the teachings of Dr. Joe, Abraham Hicks, you know, Ho'oponopono, you know, other teachers. And they're very esoteric teachings, but you need to try it out for yourself, because you will see things shift that you think, wow, it is my creation. It's just crazy, yeah? So it says here, change your conception of yourself. So we're not talking about other people, of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Do not try to change so-called other people. They are only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself. So very often we're in devaluing ourselves, we're in catastrophic thinking about ourselves, we are really not seeing even who we are, and then we become victims. But what we need to do is reevaluate or reappreciate yourself, and these so-called other people that are all in you, will confirm the change. And actually, today I was in I'm in all these Facebook groups with all these different teachers, Bashar, you know, Abraham Hicks. I'm in the reality trance surfing one. I'm in the one for Neville Goddard. And I woke up and I saw this this person, and she was sharing a testimonial, and she said, I've used this Neville Goddard teaching a lot, and it really works for me. And she says the only thing that she changes in her world is basically the way she thinks about people. And she had two examples, and she said, my son, I'm very spiritual. I've taken my son to all the retreats, to all the workshops, and I'm always giving him books and things like that, but he's not doing anything. Like, he's not changing. He's like, you know, not doing anything. And what she then did, you know, the only thing that she has power over, which is her alignment, right? She had to go back to herself. And then she started shifting the way she perceived her son. So she started changing the son in herself. And she started talking to the son as if he was ready to receive all the good in his life. And her testimonial said that within a short amount of time, he changed. He became super enthusiastic, started changing. She had another testimonial, and it was about basically real estate, about something that she had to sell, and that it was really difficult. The crisis was happening, and they were saying nobody will buy in this climate, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no, that's not what I'm creating. I'm creating that this house is sold very quickly. And that's what happened, despite the crisis, despite what the estate agents were saying. And I think, you know, the thing is, we very often accept that we can manifest material things, but with people, it's so much more difficult. And this is why we need to now start taking ownership about the world that we live in. All the things that are happening, politics, economy, the stock market, you know, the direction of our humanity, the way that we are affecting the earth, Gaia, where are we heading towards with a collective? It's time to take our responsibility as a creator. And those of you who are in the morning meditations in the appreciation game, so I'm running these daily 6 a.m. UK, 7 a.m. CET meditations. We call them the best case scenario intention meditations. Every day I do a little bit of 30 to 40 minutes like lecture about something that is channeled to me through me. And every day we're really talking about that we have to take responsibility, and that we have to see the world in a better place. We have to see the leadership of the world in a better place. We have to see even evil through the eyes of source, so that evil can transform. What is evil? If there are no people out there, then it's just our shadow, right? So this is really where we need to shift from victim to creatorship. And so world as your mirror, the world is a mirror forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. Another one, this is, I think, Abraham Hicks. So we're going to do a lot of Abraham Hicks because Abraham Hicks has so much material. It's just so exciting. And, you know, every day I find a new video of Abraham where I'm falling off my chair because I love it so much. I'm just like manifesting all these amazing videos with amazing testimonials as well. But basically, the relationship you have with others are a reflection of the vibration you offer. There aren't actually any others. It is actually all about the relationship you have with yourself. Again, if you think low of yourself, if you devalue yourself, if you don't trust in yourself, you know, guess what is going to happen? If you lie to yourself, if you are a victim, you know, you always think that people are perpetrating or bullying you. Victims always attract people that do things to them. Yeah. When you become a victor, you'll suddenly feel yourself you'll feel suddenly that you won't resonate anymore with people that are bullying you or that people are trying to devalue you. You just don't resonate with it and they disappear or they change into other people. I swear to God, these people will change. They will transform into different people. I've had this happen with bosses. And in the other masterminds that I ran, we did a whole Ho'oponopono exercise. We had people shifting around family, really difficult family relationships. We were doing Ho'oponopono 24/7 for a month as an experiment. We had a small group doing it because not a lot of people want to take responsibility for the world. These people started taking responsibility for people that were very difficult. We're talking about people that were mean, that had horrible consciousness, and you would say, block these people. Normally you would say, whoa, these are toxic people. Get away from these people. Like, ooh, don't ever let them in your vibration. What we did was, no, these people are part of your consciousness. I actually told the mastermind, if we don't clean this up, you're gonna go away from this so-called toxic person. But what are you gonna meet outside? You're gonna meet the same toxicity because you didn't clear it. It's still active in your vibration. And you didn't own your responsibility. So you were still like in victimhood under 200, not claiming your power to transform it. So these other people are projections of your relationship with yourself. You can change people, meaning you walk away, you blame them, you block them. They're toxic, right? You're not toxic. You have to blame them. And new toxic people will appear with the same dynamic. Isn't that true? All of you here have done enough personal development work to know that this is true. Yeah, but it's changing your emotions, the vibration, meaning the level of consciousness that you operate on. That's why we are so keen on understanding David Hawkins' consciousness scale. It's changing your emotions, what you're radiating out because of your loving connection to source, you claiming more and more of your source. This is what's going to change the dynamic, whether with the same people or new people. And actually, you know, I'm going to interview Chris Dillard, who is one of the main teachers of the Power of Quiet. He's the founder of the Power of Quiet. He is, I think, the second line of teachers in the release technique, or the third line, I don't know anymore. And, you know, he's teaching that really everybody is our picture, and that's from Lester Levinson. And they are all in alignment with Ho'oponopono and Neville Goddard and what Dr. Joe is teaching as well. So you will find that you are not a victim of fate, but you are a victim of fate. What do you believe in? Remember that the victim believes that things are being done to them. The victim really believes in perpetrators. The victim believes that they will be betrayed. The victim believes that they will be abandoned. They will be cheated on. They will be stolen from. They will be, you know, their rights are going to be taken away. And so we just look around us right now. Who are the victims in the world? Who are they pointing the finger to? We have so many examples right now. And when you tell them that we need to embody and anchor in the light, anchor in the higher levels of consciousness of unconditional love, they're not ready for it. So this is why when we encounter these people that are not ready to lose their victimhood, what do we need to do? We need to own our sovereignty and not let our vibration be reduced because of what we see in the outer world in these so-called projections of other people. So this is really where we need to just see everybody as, you know, somewhere triggering our sense of what is safe. But that is the time when we need to reclaim our sovereignty. And once what we've seen happen in the appreciation game is that a lot of people, when because they played the game with us during the coronavirus and the lockdown and all the thousands of conspiracy videos being banned and being taken off of all these platforms, that you started thinking, what is going on? I don't understand what's going on. The only thing that I could do, which was a download, was, Angelique, you're going to create. You're going to teach people how to create. You're not going to go into victimhood. There is no justification for you to depart or to abandon all of the knowledge that you've accumulated for so many lifetimes. You're going to now walk the talk, and you're going to do this in every area of your life, including the world scene. And this is why a lot of the people in the appreciation game, they now can actually watch all the news and they're not being triggered. They literally say, I can stay in my equilibrium and still choose my best case scenario. And what's so funny is that's actually, when you watch the video with all the testimonies of people who were in the appreciation game and who attended a lot of the classes, who were always doing their homework, meaning they were reporting, they were engaging with the group. They all have had amazing breakthroughs with their business despite the lockdown. They had their best months, their milestones. They had like the best revenue during the lockdown, and they couldn't even leave their home very often. They were in these countries where they had lockdown. And a lot of people, they saved, they started being really relaxed about what's going on in the world. They were like, oh no, I'm choosing my best case scenario. I cannot really be bothered about like all the stuff that's going on. I have my business to run. I'm creating my life, and what will happen, but I'm going to be fine. And if you can imagine, and all of them said, if I wasn't in the appreciation game during the lockdown, I would not have mastered this amount of serenity and peace to not react like a dog, like a Pavlov's dog, going into fear. And I can say that this is really an effect of the repetition of knowledge that we give you day by day, so that you create new neural networks. But also you need to do processes every day because you need to report to us. And also you're going to put that as a priority above all the busyness in your life. Because as the people who know, who are in our game, they say, you can be really busy in your life. And you are probably very busy, and you are justified in that. But your busyness operating out of a lower level of consciousness, you're not going to have a very satisfactory life. You're not going to have results that you love. You're just going to be busy, but you're operating from a lower level of consciousness where you don't even believe in your goal. You don't even feel aligned with your goal. You're doubting yourself. You're compensating with massive action because you don't believe that your goal already happened, because you haven't done the vibrational alignment work. So the people in our game, they know enough to know that the vibrational alignment work is the first thing you attend to. Even if you set intentions like, during a meeting, you're walking 5 minutes to the next office to go into a meeting, you can still do the vibrational alignment work. And you do not pick this. There were people even here, I see that they were reporting, I don't even pick up the phone if I'm not aligned, because I know I'm not in alignment. If I pick up the phone, it's not going to be a good result. So I will basically wait, align myself, and then go back to them. And this is the masters do this. The masters know at every second of their life where they are with their consciousness, and they can withdraw and say, you know what, I need to take a time out here because I need to realign, because I'm so out of alignment that if I'm going to engage in this specific state of mind, I'm going to create negative results for myself and for other people. And I'm too powerful for that. I'm so powerful. I'm going to stop myself. So this is a beautiful quote, which I love, is, of course, a lot of the time when we have a big goal, whether it's relationships, it's like peace with ourselves, a beautiful body, riches, wealth, and success, right? Alignment with source. What we do, we go seek it. We go outside. But this teaches us everything is inside of you. Like that woman with the testimonial about the real estate and her son changing. It was all inside of her. So all is yours. Do not go seeking for that which you are, because everything is you. Everything is you out projected. And it's so hard to grasp, right? It's like, what? No, this is really what we're going to teach you, and that is what we're going to practice. For that which you are, appropriate it, claim it, assume it. So we're going to play a fun game. seeing through the eyes of source, living through source, living source, you know, just embodying source. Change of vibration, a change of feeling. And this is it. When you have these triggers, how quickly can you reestablish the feeling because you are a master? How often are you going to obey the voices of your victim trance states? And this is the choice that you have to make. When you are a deliberate co-creator, you are no longer going to identify with the victim states. You are going to anchor your body in a exit strategy, in a new identity that becomes so much your default that even if the trigger states are triggered, that you are not, the triggered trance states are triggered, that you are not going to go there. And even if you go there, you don't stay there. You don't stay there for too long. And if you do see yourself staying there, you ask for help. Yeah. And this is what the group is for. The group is going to be there to support you. And if you need help, you know, you'll probably be the main focus in one of the bonus classes where we do a lot of the energy work, or we could refer you to one of the amazing therapists that is going to be one of the guest teachers that we work with. Yeah. So a change of feeling is a change of destiny. And it's the only thing that will change your destiny is a change of vibration, a change of your level of consciousness, a change of the way you feel. So one of the biggest things that we were going to study is the law of non-resistance. Law of non-resistance, this is an example. It's in the book, The 11 Forgotten Laws, a book by it's called Working with the Law, Raymond Hollowell. Law of non-resistance is the biggest one, I think, because a lot of the time when we're not manifesting things, it's because we're resisting reality. I don't have the money yet. I don't like the reality with no money. I don't have the lover yet. I don't like this reality with no lover. I don't like my current lover, current boss, current neighbors. You are creating more of it because you're resisting it, because what you resist persists. And so Florence Scovel-Shinn, this is in one of the chapters of her book, people have said to me, give treatments to change my husband or my brother, anybody, governments, whatever, your body. I reply, Florence replies, no, I will give treatment to change you. When you change, your husband and your brother will change. Life is a mirror and we find only ourselves reflected in our associates, everybody around us. So this is a video that I want us to listen to. And those of you who are in our 7 a.m. CET best case scenario intention meditation, you know that we listen to this every day. So when you're in the appreciation game, this is one of the videos that you will have to listen to every day, because what I've learned from studying with Bob Proctor is that we need repetition. And every day you are a new person, and every day you have a new beginning. Every day you need to listen to this so that you know how powerful you are when you use the leverage of alignment. Alignment is hooking up with the power of the force and the power of the energy that created star systems and the world. So those of you who already know this, you're gonna love it. Those of you who don't know it, it's going to probably affect you quite a bit, but let's listen to it and listen to your own reaction when you hear this, and ask yourself how much you believe this to be true. Yeah, because those of us who are in the best case scenario intention meditation every day, we've listened to it so often, but I you know, we're probably still like yo-yoing between whether we can do it or not. But most of us are really understanding because of the repetition, because of all the meditations we do, we actually accept it. But I think we need to go to a level of consciousness where we just know that this is how reality works. That we don't have to take action with other people. We don't have to resist other people. We don't have to fix other people. We don't have to blame other people or governments or karma, whatever. It's all in us. All the power is in our own alignment. So let's listen to this video and then look for yourself in those areas where you are in a victim trance state. How are you taking your attention away from your own alignment? How are you looking in the direction of fixing and changing other people, blaming them, instead of looking within and aligning with who you really are and finding back that wholeness? Because this is what this is going to be the red thread for the next 28 days appreciation game, because this is so important for our collective right now. And I think this teaching is, apart from all the different tools that we have, is such a game changer. And I'm getting more and more videos around this theme, more and more people that are doing this work. So I think our collective is also ready for this amount of responsibility and sovereignty, where we stop being a victim, even with people that seem to be so out of control and that we need to fix. Yeah, so listen to this and really look for yourself in the area where you are in victim trance states, whether you can accept this responsibility wholeheartedly, and where you can actually say, I need to stop doing this. I need to stop this.
And are you refreshed? Yes. Good. Now what? Now what? They're all stirred up.
So, I've met some amazing people, and we were in conversations, and everybody I met said, you should get in the hot seat. I'm like, I don't know why. But I'll tell you what's coming to me now is that...
Do you think you might speak with clarity? Do you think that you have ideas that are flowing?
I do.
Do you acknowledge that you are a teacher to the core of your being, and that you are an uplifter, and that you are an influencer of bringing people into alignment? And so take the compliment and don't deny it, and don't refuse to own it. Instead, raise your hand as you did. We could feel the contradiction in your vibration. It was why it's a little difficult to sort you out. So what do you want to talk about?
So the thing I want to talk about is that I was drawn in from the art field to wellness coaching and that, and then it went to broader than that, and somebody contacted me about addiction. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go there. The reason I didn't is because I have two sons that for many years were in and out of addiction.
So you collected a lot of data and had a lot of questions and launched a lot of rockets.
I did.
Yeah. Seems like a good reason, doesn't it?
It does.
A lot of momentum.
It is, yes. And so something clicked. Once I started to understand what I was called for on addiction, I was trying to fix my two boys, trying to help them in a different way, that I just stood back and saw the true being that they were and loved them. And through that, they felt it through me. I did nothing other than love.
We know this to be true, but we want to present it in a way that you can feel the resonance with it. Are you saying that what your experience was is that at first your perspective of what they were about was off-putting to you and scary to you and troubling to you, and that you were ineffective in your actions and behaviors to try to assist them? But then you found a different perspective of them. You didn't let their current condition be your reason that you calibrated to them or saw them in a certain way. You stepped back because your love for them is dominant and your connection to source was already established, and found a harmony with your inner being and saw them through the eyes of source. And when you saw them through the eyes of source, you were no longer pushing them away, and you were no longer calibrating to their problem, but now you were calling them to be cooperative components to who they really are and what they really want. Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
And isn't it nice, given everything that we've been talking about, to be able to describe it in that way? It's a sure thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is a sure thing. And that's what I want to say to anybody out who has children in addiction or whatever it is, food, alcohol, it doesn't matter. When you see them in a different light.
Be more specific. When you see them.
When you see anyone, it doesn't have to be your children. When you see the true being that they are.
That's what we wanted to hear. The different light, meaning the true light.
Right.
The whole light.
The wholeness.
The whole light.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took me a while, but when I did, everything.
What happened to you when you did?
Oh.
Relief.
I felt
Release of
10 years younger
resistance.
because I struggled for a lot of years trying
Because
to
you
fix them.
refreshed and regained your
did.
power.
I did.
And then called them to theirs.
Yes. And so my message is just, I just want other people that are going through this, and I know there are people here that are, to see that it works. It works. And my sons are doing amazing now.
So do you have some practical ways of describing how you accomplished the shift? Because it was the shift that you accomplished that you're wanting to teach to others. You're not wanting to teach them anything about the addiction of their loved ones. You're wanting to teach them how to accomplish the shift in them. So what would you say to them about that?
I would say that it came within me. When I saw something different within me, I was able to see, when I saw the more wholeness in me, I saw it in them.
Could you describe it this way a little bit? That at first, their experience brought you so much pain that it reached the place where you had to choose pain or no pain. And it felt like a weird decision to make, to choose your well-being over focusing on your children. But your desire to find your own relief became dominant. And do you believe that was the turning point for you?
I know that was the turning point.
So that's the most important thing that you want to express to others.
Yes.
You got to care about how you feel more than anything else.
Yes.
And that's the tricky part to get across to parents and so forth who have already believed that they should sacrifice everything that feels good to them for their children.
Yes.
That's what your message must be focused mostly about.
Yes.
And then, of course, then you can explain to them what came next and what came next and what came next and what came next and what came next. We're glad those people around you talked you into raising your hand.
Thank you.
So when you listen to this video over and over and over again, and there's more videos about this, how when we try to fix people, we're actually not helping ourselves and we're not helping them. So once you start building up this neural network of a real understanding of alignment and the power of alignment, how powerful you are when you are aligned, and it's so powerful that first you start feeling better, you start becoming a cooperative component to your desire. But you're inviting other people to also be a cooperative component because you stop pushing them in a corner of there's something wrong with you. As we said, there are no other people. Everybody's responding to you. So how does manifestation work? Basically, manifestation is your intention or what you want to manifest, plus your energy, which is your level of consciousness, which becomes manifestation. Yeah. So, but very often what we do in the game is we teach people that if they are living down here, which is, I hope this thing will say shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and pride. They're living in a state of survival, and they're going to be, no matter what they do, it doesn't matter how many courses they run, how many people they hire, even if they would hire the best salesperson or the best relationship coach, Tony Robbins moves in with them in their house, or Dr. Joe moves in with them. Even if they do the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditations, if they open their eyes and they go straight into here and they are not waking themselves up from the trance of their trance monkey states of poverty consciousness, of low self-esteem, of self-devaluation, devaluing others, catastrophic thinking, or urgency and survival, competition. That's all here. If they don't move out of that, when they have their eyes open and when they're triggered, when so-called other people trigger them, they're going to manifest always negative results that really make them feel defeated. And so the problematic thing is, in this world that we live in, a lot of people have done work for many, many years, including myself. And because we do the work, but we're not tackling it with the right, comprehensive set of tools, and they don't do it in accountability. So they do it sometimes, and then they don't do it most of the time. And then most of the time they're still living here somewhere, and they don't even understand that they live there. and they're just doing it by themselves. They're not working in a group, because a group is much more powerful. A group is entangled with each other. When you work with a group, you start resonating with the progress of the group. And especially when you're working with a group of high achievers, highly committed people that have an intention to become masters, masters of their environment, masters of the world, masters of their destiny. When you work with that group of people, you could be resonating here, but some other people might be here. And because they're here, you're going to resonate with them. And because of the group entanglement and the 100 monkey effect, you're going to download. At one point, it's going to happen. You're just going to download the results and the progress of the group. And you're going to, because a lot of the players that were playing with us, they have been doing the work for many, many years. And so they're ambitious, spiritually ambitious, because they want to feel good. They want to be aligned, and they know now, and we know this now because of the coronavirus. Thank you, coronavirus. Thank you. We honor you, coronavirus. Because of the coronavirus, we now know that we're not doing it for ourselves. This alignment that we're going for is we're doing it for the whole world. So in a lot of the teachings that we do, yes, you will come with your own individual goals, but you have to see your goal in the context of the bigger collective. The bigger collective is a beautiful earth that we can inhabit, that can be good for our children and our grandchildren, but also for ourselves when we come back in another reincarnation, should we choose to come back, or should we be forced to come back. So it's really about us, you know, understanding that once you do not understand the scales of consciousness, you can do a lot of action, and you can really think, oh, 50% of the time I feel good. Why am I not getting results? Because you're not a 100% pure vibrational match. Your primary vibration has to, you have to change personality to live here. So it's not about the wishful thinking states of, oh yeah, I'm feeling so good because I was listening to this meditation. But as soon as you're in your car, you know, this is an example of Dr. Joe. You've done this amazing meditation, but soon as you go into your car, you curse people and you start sending emails to your bosses, hating them, or, you know, or ex-husbands or whatever. It means you're still in the lower levels of consciousness. You're still not there. So it's really about us embodying, overcoming the triggers in our life, overcoming the people that are really difficult to deal with, and taking responsibility for everything. As soon as we take responsibility, we move to courage. And then it is really about us going to the level of trust. And trust is not easy, I will tell you. And then when you go, you know, from trust, you go to optimism. In optimism, you even are willing to tackle resistance, to tackle challenges. And when you go there, you go to 350, where you even forgive, for God's sake. Oh, that took me a long time, I can tell you. And I know I had to do, like, I don't know, 12 to 14 sessions of fast EFT to go to forgiveness, because there was so much lack of forgiveness, so much resentment in my energy consciousness. And then when you are in 350, this is the level where people become super successful. When you are in 350, according to David Hawkins' scale, people start manifesting, being magnets. They become magnets. They think a thought, and the cooperative components start calling them. They magnetize people, circumstances, and events to them. So the more you're in the higher states of consciousness, the more you see the law of attraction working in very mysterious, synchronistic ways. You become psychic, you become more intuitive, you know who to work with. People know they need to work with you, like the right people. And, you know, life becomes so extremely effortless, but it takes time. It takes time. It could take you 2 to 3 weeks. It could take you a month. It could take you 2 months to move from here to here. But for God's sake, it is so worth it. It is so, so worth it. So really, I want you to go back to manifestation. What is manifestation? It's basically your level of consciousness, which is here, with whatever intention you have. And the intention is very often a picture. Let's call it a picture. So your picture could be, I'm going to have this and this and this, all these things in my life. And then I'm going to, but the way you set an intention, you always feel something around it. That is what you're currently creating. The thing is, when you have faith, you know, imagine faith becomes your fate, Neville Goddard. When you expect it, you are creating from oneness with your goal. You're creating from oneness with your intention. And oneness is, if you go back to the David Hawkins scale, it's somewhere here. When we're in pure consciousness, we feel one with everything and everybody. And that's why we wouldn't judge people. We would just have compassion for them. and we just see them where they are with love and compassion, but we don't make it personal ever. And because we have compassion and love and unconditional love for people and life, we start having an amazing effect on people. And this is the process that we're all in. All of us are moving towards here. And this is why we're having so many challenges. Even in astrology, it's being reflected to us that all our skeletons are coming out. It is time now for all of us to move upwards here, because if we don't do it, we're going to stay stuck here, and we're going to go, you know, for whatever purpose it would be useful. You're going to stay stuck in a timeline that's not so positive. It's very bleak, that timeline where, you know, where you are a victim because that's what you believe in. You believe in being a victim. You create a perpetrator because everything is your picture. So this is the most positive thing that we will move towards to when you play with us in the appreciation game. But imagine that you have, let's say, a saboteur energy or victim energy. You will have a positive picture. So you can have many vision boards, many mind movies, affirmations all over the place. But if you didn't change your vibration, you don't have positive emotions, or you have conflicting emotions. So for instance, you want to have the success, but you don't want to work too hard. Conflicting intention. You want the relationship. Oh, but gosh, you don't want to be like your mother or your dad. Or you don't want the same relationship with your ex-wife or your ex-husband or whatever, or your neighbor who is always fighting. So when you have all of these things, you let the outer world affect you, you let the past affect you, you don't forgive people, you don't see it was all your creation, you're going to be staying here, and you're going to have a conflicting manifestation. When you're creating from lack and from separation with whatever is going on, you know, so you don't see your goal as it's already here. It's just a quantum potential I'm choosing. You're going to have a positive picture, all the things that you think you need as props to create your life, but you're going to feel lack. You're going to feel a sense of separation. You don't really believe it. So you have, again, a conflicting manifestation. So what we do in the appreciation game is we really teach you how to catch yourself in the 7 toxic ways of thinking and being. So if you look at devaluing yourself or devaluing others, there is no difference. It doesn't matter whether you devalue others or yourself, you're doing the same thing all to yourself. So this could happen in your business. This could happen in relationships. This could happen in so-called toxic relationships. This could happen even with the media, and even those government leaders that you think are so funny. You need to make fun of them, or you need to demonize them. Yeah. You're not seeing through the eyes of source when you're doing that. And this is really where people are really struggling, because we have been taught to judge. We have been taught to like see good or bad, and to resist the bad, which is law of non-resistance, right? We resist it, we create more of it. We're actually feeding the pendulum. So in the appreciation game, we have to unlearn a lot of the human behaviors that keep us creating this, may I say it, horrific life, horrific future that is looking at us. It's very scary. It's like a nightmare. We have to wake up. The only way that we can wake up is by doing what we need to do, which is stop being a victim, become a master. And so you can look at these things, but actually this is where a lot of people live. And if they don't shift it, their whole life is going to stay the same. Victimization and blame, again, so automatic, so often, you know, even in a car, maybe with your children, definitely with your spouse. Yeah, a lot of people that I know, and including myself, you know, it's so easy to blame somebody else for lack of your happiness, or lack of feeling safe, or lack of feeling approval, because we're feeling so victimized by their behavior. When we're comparing and competing with other people, so-called other people, we're seeing them successful, or we're seeing them doing something, and we feel like that, you know, we can't have it, or why is it happening to them? Why is it not happening with me? Or even in your business, you might think that you're competing with anybody, but actually Abraham says there is no competition. Everybody's creating their own vortex. Your vortex is full of your clients, but because you're not a cooperative component, you cannot line up with them. And so this is why I'm happy to collaborate with lots and lots of other healers, lots of other programs, because I believe if you are that good, I want to be your affiliate. You know, I want to promote you, because if people are ready for your program, I'm not competing with them. They're going to be on your program no matter what. And if they're in a cooperative component with my program, they'll be in my program no matter what. So this whole thing about competing in the business world and thinking that there is something as a recession, Bob Proctor always said, you create your economy. There's nobody else creating your economy. In the last games, we had a lot of Abraham Hicks videos about economy and how mass consciousness creates economy and how you can get unhooked from it. So, you know, the players that are in our game, we know this, but it's really about practice, 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 practice. Time warping is really not seeing things as they are, but really projecting the past onto the future and in the present moment, and then creating more of the same. Generalization, meaning you saw it happen once, or you saw it happen in your life, maybe with one thing, and then you kept thinking this is the way it is. Catastrophic thinking, I'm really good at that. I'm teaching myself to get out of it by really attributing positive meaning to everything and knowing everything works out for me. But this is really this is one which is going on a lot right now in our collective. I was in an Uber the other day, and the Uber driver started talking to me, and he said, actually, because he asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, I run coaching and mentoring programs with people, mastermind programs. We do a lot of healing, energy work, etc. And he said, you know, actually, I've been hearing a lot of my clients in the car telling me that they had panic attacks, and I've never heard this before. And so our collective is being caught in the loop of catastrophic thinking. And if we're in catastrophic thinking as a collective, what will we be creating? We'll be creating from the unconsciousness of a victim, and we'll be creating a lot of catastrophic outcomes, because if we're feeding that to the quantum field, that is what will happen. But the good thing is, those people that are resonating on these higher levels of consciousness, which is above 350 or above love 500, they really have an impact on a much larger group of people. So that is the work that we're doing here as a collective. So for you to understand, you know, we're going to work a lot with pendulums. We're going to work a lot with what are the pendulums hooking you, which unconscious way of toxic thinking are you using when you're looking at the results in your life. Are you here or are you here? Where are you, so that we can help you move the needle? And how can you stop using current reality as your matrix? Because a lot of the time what people do is they look at current reality, like let's say your bank account or the dissatisfactory relationships or your pipeline for your business, or, you know, people you love acting a certain way. Could be your mom, could be your partner, it could be your neighbors, could be your government, right? And then you let this current manifestation feed back to your picture, because you're so hypnotized by it that you cannot see everything else. And that then determines your vibration. And so this is one of the biggest dead end energy processes that we run. We run this all the time. And this is one of the things that we will remind you every day to get out of this reality feedback loop. This creates stuckness, and this creates a victimhood, because we start thinking it's the reality making me feel a certain way. This is one of the biggest other things that we're going to teach you to break through, that you're not going to come back in this loop. You're not going to let current reality determine your vibration. You're going to let the vision of your future determine your vibration. So what you're going to do is what we're going to teach you, and this is what all the practices do every day, is you're going to let the desired manifestation, which is in the future present reality, because there's actually no future. Future is actually created in the now, any moment now, and everything is happening in the now. You're going to let the future present reality, I'm not saying future present potential, future present reality, because it already happened. You're going to let that dictate your energy, and you're going to let that feed back into your intention. And so these are all the skills and tools we're going to remind you of every day. And this is why people start outgrowing and pruning the neural networks of their victimhood. Because instead of focusing on what they don't want, they have to now focus on what they do want. And they have to embody it, be inspired by the desired manifestation, no longer stuck with current reality. So this again is a very beautiful Abraham Hicks videos. We were working with 68 seconds in the appreciation game, but now there's a new number, 70 seconds. I don't know why, but so basically this video is really amazing because this person was talking about how he was affecting other people, and especially if they were difficult. And Abraham Hicks said that if you are going in with a positive alignment, that because of you seeing them in a certain way, it doesn't matter how stuck these people are. Let's say you're a leader, or you're gonna, you know, coach a team of people, or you're gonna work with very difficult, you know, children or people. People are really difficult anyway. So right. So imagine that you got to go in with a certain negative expectation of them. Guess what you're going to create? Negative expectation. But in this video, Esther explains that when we go in and we see them through the eyes of source, what happens? We invite them to their vortex. When you see somebody through the eyes of source and they are not in their vortex, because you see it in them before they show the behavior, before they are in alignment, you are calling them, inviting them in their vortex. So these are the types of videos that you'll be watching when you're in the appreciation game, and that you'll be creating assignments around, and that you'll be creating your life around. And this is the thing, we are not just watching Abraham Hicks videos like numbers, like watch 10, 20 Abraham Hicks videos and then rush to the next 20 the next day. We are asking you to study it day after day after day and to apply it into your own life. And it's not just Abraham. It could be Mike Dooley. It could be Lynn McTaggart. It could be Greg Braden. It could be Institute of Noetic Sciences, HeartMath, you know, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Mr. Dawson from the EFT, you know, so there's so many amazing teachers out there, Matt Kahn, you know, there's so many amazing teachers out there. And so we use a host of different teachings to help you see that there's only one reality. And the one reality is that you are creating your reality, and you are creating it with your personality. And to shift reality, we need to shift our personality. So another Abraham Hicks quote: use whatever excuse you can to vibrate in harmony with those things you've been saying you want, including a better world, including the world being a safe place to live in, including a world that is not going to blow itself up, yeah? Including a world where our climate is going to be in sync with what nature, what is good for nature and good for us. And when you do those things that are a vibrational equivalent, flow into your experience in abundance, not because you deserve it. Abraham doesn't believe in deserving, not because you've earned it. They don't believe in earning, but because it's a natural consequence of the law of attraction. That which is like unto itself is drawn. So basically what happens is, our appreciation game is really based on this quote and many quotes of Abraham, where, you know, you can find these quotes in our in my YouTube channel. Basically it says, it is our promise to you, if you write things you appreciate in others, in life and in yourself, so everything. So not so much you know, not focus on the things you don't want, but really focus on the things you do want. You will have such a dramatic change in 30 days that if you continue for 6 months, the change will be so powerful. That's why we have a 6-month game, so strong that others who know you will not recognize the old you. And so what do we do in the appreciation game? We appreciate 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and in the evening. We have an app for that. And we also have a community group. I'll show you some of the posts there. And the accountability is to post, to really appreciate 3 times a day, and then to post 1 day in the group. This is the game. This is the game. That's it. That's it. And then of course you're going to work with the group. You're going to read the posts of the other group, but that's all optional. What it is you have the accountability. So if you don't do it for 3 times, 3rd time you don't do it, you're thrown out of the group. And when you're thrown out of the group, there's ways to get back in it, but you're not going to have access to, you know, the posts that are there, or you won't be able to attend the classes. So basically we want to set an example of when you have enough excuses to not do the vibrational alignment work, this game is going to mirror to you how you're then thrown out of the vortex. And I think most of the people that are going to play the game with us, they're really quite addicted to the content we have to share and all the sharings of the amazing players. So that is like the 3-time strike. It's a very tough one, because you're going to miss out on the amazing sharings and the teachings for even a few days. It's not fun. So, but also apart from the 3 times appreciation and 1 times posting in the group a day, there are daily inspirational teachings like the videos that we've shown, and like all the new things that we're going to teach you. So basically, while you're doing the simple process of appreciation 3 times a day and posting about it, we are also offering you videos and blogs, and maybe we'll be shooting bonus classes, etc., that will allow you to really start to work with the new person you're becoming, to really create this new person day by day while you're going through your life. Not like when you're in a retreat and think, oh, I don't have time for it, because no, you're doing it during your life. You're doing it during your commute. You're doing it while you work with children. You're doing it while your life is, you know, while you're behind your spreadsheets, and while you're doing the business development. And so, but this is optional, so you don't need to be overwhelmed by it. But a lot of our players, they love this. They love this and they love this. And it's a combination of it that makes them really pumped up. But those of you who don't have that much time, know that you can only do this, but you don't have to do this, but you can read what others are doing, and it will actually, you will be inspired, because the group that we have are so inspiring. Some of them are like poets or something, or writers. I don't know what they are, but they're like channeling poetry, channeling wisdom. And so, and you know who you are. Just amazing. Like, I love reading the stuff. Like, it's like every day I'm so disappointed when somebody else hasn't posted yet, because I keep checking, oh, did somebody post something? I want to read it. So every week we have at least 2 teleclasses with new teachings, energy clearing processes, and group clearings, group intentions. So, and really, really work very powerfully with the knowledge of the morphogenetic fields and the attractor fields of the group. So we really set a very strong intention. Ellen and I always celebrate the success of the group. We give thanks for the success of the group, but we also really set an intention for group entanglement and really group coherence. So you're going to be working with the energy of the group, so you're not alone. And so we do a lot. This time we're gonna work with the Akashic records. We're gonna do more group intention work. We're gonna do meditations every day. You can join, and we're gonna record a meditation if you cannot join, so that you can still do the meditation when you're in bed. A lot of healings happen in a meditation. There's something going on in the meditations. I can't tell you what's happening, but there's something going on when we do the meditations, and they're very different from the Dr. Joe meditations, although they are based on the tuning into new potentials and the blessing of the energy centers meditation of Dr. Joe. But because of the intention, I think we're setting, different things are going on. So we are really very specifically tuning into the best case scenario for all humanity. And that is what we've been working with. And so we are tuned into that quantum potential, and that is what is recalibrating our energy fields and are the potentials that are unfolding in our life. And so we also have guest teachers. So this time probably we're going to have a guest teachers doing theta clearing, and another one that's going to do Sedona method with us. And I mostly do a lot of releasing work. And Ellen and I are going to also look into the Akashic records, which is amazing stuff that we'll do. So in terms of processes and alignment skills, those of you who've been working with us, you already know that we found a lot of alignment skills. These are the things that you could practice. But we're going to work with the new process of Abraham Hicks called calibrating. It's so much fun. Calibrating is such a game changer. Calibrating will change your life. It's very similar to the grid process, but it's slightly different, because calibrating is a moment by moment thing, and the grid process is more like understanding your vibrational set point. And grid process is very often done with the Book of Positive Aspects. Calibrating, you need to do it while you're talking. You do it while you're working. You do it while you're thinking your thoughts. Appreciation is what you have to do anyways, which is the only antidote to the 7 toxic ways of thinking. We are going to do processes with pre-paving, if you wish, or telling a new story, and all the other energy work stuff. So basically, so we do energy work, getting you into the receptive mode, filling in your grid so that you become a vibrational match more and more and more with what you want to create. You're going to tackle your identity issues, especially the victim and the saboteur archetypes of the wounded child, and you're going to regain your power to choose because deliberate creators choose. We do not wish and hope. We do not pray. We choose the outcome, and we choose the feeling, and we choose what we're going to be aligned with, no matter what happens around us. So we make it independent of outer circumstances, because your alignment is an inner business, is your inner business, is the business of you putting your nose in your own business. Yeah, we're going to work with the process of appreciation so that you can allow in amazing things, synchronicities, miracles, miraculous shifts around you. And you're going to choose a new state of being so that you wake up in your trance. Again, choosing. And you're going to choose whenever you're triggered to be in that new state of being without moaning, without getting a lot of the, without getting rewarded for staying in victim consciousness. Because that is why people very often stay stuck in victim consciousness, is because that's the way that they get reward or attention, or that's the way that people respond to them. And that's a learned behavior. And so we need to teach them that it's very debilitating. It keeps them stuck. You know, it definitely kept me stuck. But once you do the work, and we're going to do the work in a group, you know, you're going to see that once you wake up from the trance, you really don't want to go back there, because it just feels too horrible to be in these trance. So there's a lot of accountability, there's repetition every day, there's group synergy, and there's group entanglement. So this is the next edition, 28-day game. One of the favorite quotes that we have in the group is that, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on in the world, because one who is connected to the energy stream, or who's connected to source, or who is aligned, is more powerful than a million who are not. Imagine what that means. And when we look at the outcomes, the miraculous manifestations in our group, we can probably say that this is really the case. And so in the best law of attraction masterminds, we see this happening. It doesn't matter that there was COVID. It doesn't matter that there was a lockdown. These people are secure in their finances because they do not allow their power to be taken away by the media, by conspiracy theories, by what's going on with them. They say, you know what? I'm still going to be fine, because I am more powerful than millions who are not in alignment. And we are just as powerful as a government. We're just as powerful as, you know, other people who have weapons, let's say. Well, why would we focus on that? I ask people to send love to everybody. Send love to everything you read in the media. Send love to all the leaders. Send love to all the pharmaceutical companies. Send love to all the people that are trying to take, so-called other people trying to take away your power, because that's the only way you're going to be applying the law of non-resistance. So again, quantum entanglement. In our last game, we did a lot of work on understanding the holographic universe, so that you know that when you change, other people change. When you change, governments change. When you change here, and you're in London or in Amsterdam, you'll be changing other people in other parts of the world. Not only that, you're changing your past, you're changing the future. So, and this is all based as well on, you know, a lot of the geeky research, you know, a non-local, spooky action at a distance, that type of research, but also the Akashic Records teachings, because we will be studying that book. We spoke about the 100 monkey effect. So basically the game, you know, I would really say commit for 6 months, because that is really, you know, such a low amount of money. I think we will set up a subscription for that. So when you commit to 6 months, you'll be, I think, I'm not sure, but you can pay per month. Some people have already paid, you know, in one go. And so they get the 45% discount. If you don't know whether it's right for you, you can always join, whichever one you want to join. And within 14 days, you can actually get your money back if you play full out for 14 days, meaning you do not miss a day. Because what we want you to do is really challenge yourself to be in the game 100%. Because if it's not for you, we will give the money back to you, because we don't, you know, if it's not the right time, don't be in it. If it's not the right time, you know, it shouldn't be there. So when you sign up before the game starts on Thursday night, 9 p.m., you're going to get 1 month free of this book club. In this book club, we're going to read Akashic Records. It's an amazing book about how your present is creating the past, how you need to revise the past, how you need to rewrite the story of the past, how you can use your intuition, how you can tune into intuition, how you can tune into quantum potentials. And it's just an amazing, amazing book. It's really hard to let go of the book. So this book club is like really more for people that don't want to do the appreciation game. Maybe you just want to be in the Law of Vibration Book and Movie Club. So next month we're going to do this book club, and we're going to watch a movie at least 1 month, a movie or a documentary. So the movie that we're going to watch is the Illusion of Money by Kyle Cease, and this book is just going to be a game changer. And then after that, we'll probably be reading a book. We probably will be watching the movie by Bashar, the documentary called First Contact. And you know, we'll probably still be studying this book, because we don't consume books. We don't assume that we know a book just because we've read it. We dissect the book, and it becomes part of us. When we study something, it becomes part of you. That is how we play the appreciation game and the Law of Vibration Book and Movie Club. What is the difference, I would say, between the Law of Vibration Book and Movie Club and the appreciation game? The Law of Vibration Book and Movie Club doesn't have accountability. So you basically just stay in the game. In the game, you get accountability. So for the appreciation game, you actually are there because you want the accountability. You want to do the work, because once you don't do it, you're thrown out. And you want the daily inspiration teachings, and you really want to raise your vibration. In the book club, you're more like, oh, I just want to show up and read what other people write. I don't really care. I don't really care about actually the accountability. So basically, I want to show you what the game looks like. So when you are in the game, you'll be in a secret part of the group. So this is the normal part. And here you can find all the posts that we post for our community, all the different videos and different quotes and things like that. So NASA scientists detect parallel universe next to ours where time runs backwards. Amazing, right? This is the Neville Goddard stuff. A lot of the Neville Goddard stuff about the inner talk, about how we need to talk to ourselves. It's actually what Abraham Hicks is teaching about calibration. You know, this is all here. When you're in the creating from in the next game, we'll be uploading everything in here. And what you see is basically how it's set up. So we post a video, 1 or 2 videos, and we post articles sometimes. And then we have an optional assignment, and then people have to respond to it. And then you can see people responding as much as they want or as little as they want. And we also responding, and people just loving the sharing. And this is the fun thing, is people start reading each other's comments and they love it, you know. And every time they read something from another person, you know, they really think, oh my God, I am so extremely inspired. So again, this is like people, you know, and actually when we started minimizing the stuff, people were a bit upset. They were like, we want more. And but right now we've decided that although they want more, we're going to be really, really tuned into the application. And the application is very much about us embodying the state of the wish fulfilled, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and really transcending these victim states of consciousness and these trance states of consciousness, and really seeing the triggers for what they are and doing the work in advance, so that we're building bridges between those isolated neural networks of trance states, so that when they happen, you can actually very quickly move into these more resourceful states, so that you go into heart and brain coherence as quickly as possible. So I don't know whether there are any questions. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of players here, people that were playing or that will be playing with us. I don't know whether you have any questions. Imagine that you can also become an affiliate. So if you are an affiliate, if you refer people to us, you're going to get 20% of the pricing, excluding VAT. So that is a nice way to earn some money. We want you to benefit as well. Oh gosh, I don't know why this is happening. So I'm gonna click on this. Let's see, where do we go there? Not go there. So put this link in the chat. And yeah, I mean, most people that work with us, they want to do more months, because as we know, it takes time to change, and it's so much fun. And people that that tries for a month, that you know, that really go away, I don't know what type of benefits they have, but you know, everybody should do what they think is best. But we want to give as much value as we can to people, and to really help them in the process of learning and growing. And we want to, our intention is to be the world's #1 manifestation accountability setting, with people just getting results after results after results. So I don't know whether anybody has questions. I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself, or so if you want to ask questions, please feel free to do so. Or maybe you have some comments, or maybe you have some, maybe you want to say something about the new content. I don't see any comments, so
no
hi,
question.
Cherie.
It was great, Angelique. God, I felt so refreshed, because I actually I had a couple of challenges for the couple of days, so it was really good to, oh sorry you can't see me, it was really good to hear it tonight, because I just thought, oh my God, I so needed this. I texted Lone, I said I need it. I missed the first half an hour because I was actually getting my shopping, but I'm going to listen to it on recording. But it was amazing. Yeah, it was just what I needed to hear. And actually I can feel the difference from sort of being out of the appreciation game, you know, like I wasn't triggered at all in the appreciation game. Like nothing was touching me, right?
Yeah.
I thought, and the day before I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, you know, I need this. I need Angelique. I can't get away from her.
You need yourself. I'm not, there's no Angelique, right? There's just yourself, Cherie.
I need the information. Like, you know, I do a lot of work as well, but it's quite funny that, you know, because I always do my stuff. And so most of the time I've got to say I'm fine, but you know, you can just feel yourself slipping back, you know.
Yeah, every day. There's so many things that will trigger us, like literally
Yeah.
more and more things, it seems like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a lot of the time I am pretty, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself that I can sort of hang on in, but then it will just catch you, you know. And whereas I found when I was doing the work with you, I just wasn't caught at all. I was in this other space, you know. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it with you. I think it's fun as well. We have a lot of fun in the game, but it is a case we have to really commit to it, you know. You know, to really you know, but it was great. So no, it's great. And it was really good to hear it tonight as well. I found it really interesting.
Mm-hmm. What was it that made you feel so excited again? Because the appreciation game, every time it changes, because the downloads are different. Because I think, because I keep saying, you know, if I don't get a download, I'm not going to implement it, because I need to, I'm just like, you know, like you are, you know this, Cherie, I allow myself to be a channel for the divine to work through me. So I actually don't even know what we're going to do after this, but this is where we are right now with the collective. And this is what is ready for the people ready to play for us. So what do you think is different this time for the appreciation game?
Well, I love the way you're quite, I was going to say Germanic, and I know Gabriella's on there. You know, the way you're actually really like saying you need to be in it or you're not in it. It's like, you know, I love the way for now you seem to be really on it, that you're going to become masters of this and you're in it or you're not in it. I can see it.
Because there is a there is a huge gap now between the people that are going to ascend and people that are going to stay behind. Yeah, that's why.
I've heard that many times actually, and it's true. You know, either people are going to be in or out, and there is I think a lot of people are gravitating there a little bit. You know, we're getting a lot more people with that sort of that never did anything. You know, who are just sort of up a bit. But obviously, there's a lot more to do. But no, I think I've been, you know, through the whole lockdown, it's been amazing. I've been great, but you know, I just get triggered with myself that I know I'm such a perfectionist. And I was talking to Gabriella today, where I just get really annoyed with myself if I do something wrong. and it's that perfection, which is really dangerous, because in relationships I can, you know, I'm like that as well. And
it could be an Enneagram 1 and 3.
Oh, well, whatever you say,
Yeah.
but whatever
Yeah.
that is. But
You
it's
sound like one.
okay, whatever it is, Angelique, I'll take it from you. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't even know what that means, but you know, the thing is that it's that perfection in me. And then when I do something wrong, oh my God, I literally can beat myself up, you know, that it's to the point where I was having a bit of anxiety at 4 a.m. this morning, you know, which is crazy.
It's not worth it, right? Yeah, but you can see the trance monkey states coming up. So this perfectionism could be some kind of survival mechanism. We don't need survival mechanisms. We should move from survival mechanisms to actually creation, state of creation, new states of being. And so, you know, so we'll see what can happen. You will identify what is, you know, the belief system behind the perfectionism. And then you can really choose whether you want to, you know, you want to replace it with flow, with alignment, with ease, with grace, with things coming to you, you know, with intuition coming to you, and you not having to take lots of massive action to create the same outcome.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's exactly what it was. My antennae, when I was doing the work, as you know, I had one of my best months ever, right, financially.
Yeah.
But, you know, really, and so I know it, you know, but it's obviously when I was in the zone with you, I felt like that was so much higher, you know. It's still good. I'm not saying I'm, you know, because I do my stuff, and you know, I do my stuff and I mentor and stuff, but it's funny how it's so easy to slip back, you know.
It's very easy. You can do it, like something can happen and you can slip back. Like I've seen it with, you know, in my relationship, you know, I'm super aligned doing everything, and then suddenly something happens in my relationship and I go into these almost like I'm dying type of states. And it's literally because we have, and I'm learning so much from my own process, because I know that wherever we are coming a lot from the survival states and we are afraid to transform, there is something that we need to shift. And that's why we're going to work with the Akashic Records, because not everything comes from this life, and Akashic Records have a lot of wisdom. So we're going to do group meditations and group releasing, where we're going to look at the original source of why this behavior was there, because it's not all about this lifetime. I don't believe that. And so, but definitely you can be amazingly aligned, but there could be just one belief system that might have to do with something else, ancestral, your soul, or past life, or something that we need to look into. And studying that book of the Akashic Records will really help us as well. Just become intuitive and just know, you know what, I'm going to let go of that. I'm not going to go in there anymore. Yeah.
And that's why I know something's blocking, because I see all these things happening and just literally coming towards me, exactly, you know, what you want to, without doing very much. And then it gets stuck. You know, there's something there, and I'm recognizing it now, that there is something that actually, why isn't that just flowing through then? Because you've got all this coming now, but now there's something that's actually as if it's just gone, the curtains come down, you know? And then I'm like thinking, hang on a minute, you just gave me this, and this is all this, and now it's like curtains come down on it. Now I've got to think, okay, it's fine, but it's like it should be just flowing, right? The whole thing. Yeah.
I think there might be something around law of non-resistance. It's basically resisting things not going the way you want, and maybe a bit of impatience, but also a bit of too much attachment to the outer world having to provide you with a certain feeling. Because if you could have that feeling of success, no matter whether the outer world changes or not, that is when it becomes a vibe. But that is when you can allow it to happen and really stay in that feeling of receiving, rather than, oh, I want to receive, please. Why is it not happening? Do you see what I mean? So we need to almost train ourselves in knowing that it's normal. Right. Even if there is a delay, it's going to happen. You know, just be relaxed about it. Don't focus too much on it. You know, take your attention off it, chill out. Those are the Abraham Hicks teachings. And when you do that, actually, you see that it works, but it's so hard to do it because you feel guilty. You feel like, no, I cannot let go of this. I need to control this. So you start going into these like, So that
control is a big one too.
we will look into that, because this is one of the biggest things that I learned as well, is when we want control, we want safety, and we want approval, which are the three things that we do in the release technique. You're creating from lack. So as soon as you see yourself going into, I want to control this, I want approval, I want the safety from specific things or people outside of us, then we know we're still creating from lack. We're not creating from, I have it already, so I can relax about it. And it's just a choice that we have to make. But there are processes around releasing the energy consciousness of the lack. And that's what we're going to be doing with the releasing more and more. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So amazing that you'll be there, Cherie. Somebody was asking a question about, I think, the Akashic Records. So basically, the Akashic Records is, we're reading that book, and that book has a lot of meditations. But the way that I've been doing the Akashic Records is we do a process called releasing from the release technique. And then I combine it with the Akashic Records. And so, but actually when you read the book on Akashic Records, it allows you to actually, you can access the Akashic Records any moment in time, because all information is here. This is the thing, we don't trust it. We don't trust that we're that intuitive. We don't trust that we are in contact with the quantum field. And that's why we're not getting the information. So that's it, basically. So yeah, so we don't have to be experts on the Akashic Records, but the meaning and the validity of the Akashic Records is for us to really understand that Akashic Records can help us to understand why we're stuck in certain areas. And that is the value of Akashic Records. So, and I don't know who you are, Huawei P30, but yeah. Anna, I mean, this is your, I don't know, so many a time in the game. What do you think will be different? I mean, yeah.
I'm just trying to get some clarity, like because we're in a standstill. It's like, okay, obviously I'm here, I cannot go out and create a relationship. What should be my focus? Create the financial,
Like that all your dreams have come true.
Yeah.
All your dreams have come true. You don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
You're creating, right. And it's almost like you're asking me, if I create a man, should I focus on his hot body or money, or spirituality versus sex?
Yeah, it's true.
Why not all? Does Source want you to limit yourself? I don't think so.
No.
So the way that I've been doing the kaleidoscope, when I was doing the 5 AM meditations with eyes wide open, I was always just feeling into all my wildest dreams have come true. And I didn't even know what they meant. Because at that time I was really detached about relationship, and I was detached about this game. I was detached about my business. I was just like, Source, you tell me where to go. And Source has been telling you where to go, as you know.
Just to kind of get more aligned and just,
Yeah, just be playful. Just say, whatever it is, I want to experience fun. I want to experience alignment, synchronicity, miracles, uplifting people, inspiring people that are, just seeing the world becoming this amazing paradise. The more generic you are, I think the more you're going to get guidance as to actually, this is what you like. This is what you like. Is this what you like? Oh, this is a little playful little synchronicity from the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, true. How pretty.
So it's really about allowing yourself to just be a co-creative force with the universe. So but you can see that just the focus on seeing through the eyes of Source and taking responsibility for everything, how it will shift everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've already experienced it, so I think it makes sense, the 6-month program, because you start a process. So I felt it with the business vortex. So we were kind of really good, and then nothing, and you're like kind of gravitate, kind of good, and then obviously the other games came. So it's like, okay, and you maintain it more, because obviously you work on these neural networks by doing a constant work. So kind of the possibility of having that being long lasting is much more than if you just do it and don't leave it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, And the thing is, because we basically what we found out is that actually when we design it as a membership program for 6 months, and then of course, I think people will stay probably for 2 years most of the time, because I'm going to grow that much. And, so even if you have a membership program, there will be content for 2 years for them to go through. But I'll be growing all the time, and the collective is expanding all the time. So maybe at one point it will be like, mastery, like just a secret, a mystery school for the masters. Right now it's more like we still think we're human beings and we still have to like become masters, but maybe at the end of the time we might have to need an alumni membership for people who are like so powerful that they're creating I don't know what. So but right now it feels right to really, you have to become a master, and we have to create the content. And the thing is, I got so much content and so much information anyways, because if you're there at the 7 a.m. CET meditations, you know how much is coming through me every day. Like I can't even stop it. And, but I'm not going to record that, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's also time focused about what we're going through as a collective. And what I'm trying to do with the appreciation game is really make it more timeless. But it's inevitable that the corona stuff is going to seep through in it, because we don't even know how long this will last, as in terms of how it's affecting our economy and our outlook and the psyche. Yeah.
I just kind of just to say this. It's funny that Mallorca event was called the new normal. I continue to think about it now that it was like the new normal. I just think like, yeah, I have all of those. Yeah, well, I don't have the cap, I have a T-shirt, and I think I have, but it's just so funny. Like it was meant to be, so yeah.
I have goosebumps right now, and then I went to the one with Higher Love.
Amazing. Yeah.
Then I still have goosebumps, because I just felt those are the ones I need to go to and not the other ones, and that's what happened. And but I'm so I'm so excited about seeing through the eyes of Source team, because this complete taking responsibility will shift us out of victim consciousness, because aligning with Source is so powerful, and then whatever work we need to do on the victim consciousness, we're going to be at a much more powerful place as a group than when we do it alone, because that's what we've been seeing in every game, that the group is so connected that we actually support each other. And whereas normally you would have felt like, oh my God, am I still working on this problem? When will it ever stop? Now it's more like, oh, everybody's on the same journey, and I'm even doing something for the collective, Why am I purging this, So I trust that the right people will be in the game, and I'm just going to let it go. I need to learn a lot about letting go and not to be a victim. That wanting control thing is like a big addiction of mine. So that's my biggest letting go. It will be fun.
Yeah,
I'm going to end this, and I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow night, but I feel like I can do more like a process as a taster for people, maybe do like a releasing or something. So I'll set that up tomorrow again. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed it. Did you learn something new tonight?
Well, I was just kind of more checking that you came up with new concepts, because obviously listening to the previous one, it's like, oh, okay, like this, the monkey, trance monkey. Well, you've been speaking about it on the meditation, so yeah, interesting how we will be able to disconnect from all these, pendulums, and I still see people kind of really hooked, and I'm sure.
Even I'm hooked sometimes, and I go into panic, and I go into saboteur and victim, and my saboteur becomes really strong, and I hurt people that I love, and so I know so much about this that I can teach it now. And it wasn't easy to get out of it. I need to spend a lot of money on it, but there's no option for me to stay there. It's not an option.
And it's money well spent. I do believe in that,
Yeah.
Whatever helps us helps everyone.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is something that is so unknown. People don't really talk about it, but we are hooked into pendulum, so we shouldn't be so harsh on ourselves. And we are being fed a lot of lower consciousness, and maybe even lower astral that is affecting us, right? And so it's very debilitating. But I think when you work with a group energy that's so high, you can actually get out of these trance states much quicker.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking beautiful tonight. I don't know what you did with your hair.
Thank you. No, I mean, I've been struggling with the hair, we don't have hairdressers here, so I have like,
Oh, okay.
my gray hair is not visible on somebody. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank
No.
you.
So I'll see what the guides tell me about tomorrow night, but I haven't even presented all of the slides of what we'll be presenting, but I really just...
I just cannot picture you kind of going like, when I do PowerPoints a lot, when I see like you going in slide 60 something, I go, my God, those downloads, I don't know how long do they take?
They just come. It's just like, this is what you're going to do. Boom, boom. I still have so many slides that I haven't even looked at, but I just thought this is going to be the biggest theme for this game, because there's so many people stuck in victim consciousness, and the trance monkey states, they're going to be like a current or undercurrent, but they're going to be adapted in different ways. And even if we just play with this theme, we can easily pull out a program for 28 days just around this theme.
I think every single thing that you have mentioned can be a single, just downloading or any control, anxiety, whatever, can be like forever.
Yeah, I know. But the great thing is the great thing to hear is that the people that are not really in the game, that they see that they're slipping back. And this is the thing where I think, it's, we cannot afford to not be in a community. I think literally we have to be in communities. That's the age of Aquarius.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to sleep tonight, and I'm going to tune into the best case scenario before I go to sleep. I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you for being here. See you tomorrow morning. Lots of love. I'll be hosting at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. I'll try to be there.
Okay. Lots of love. Bye.